You know, artificial intelligence is just exploding. It's moving at this incredible pace, and it's changing, well, pretty much everything about how we work and live. But with all that amazing power, there's also a new wave of challenges and, let's be honest, risks. That's exactly why the world is in this race to figure out the rules for AI. And the European Union, they've just made a massive first move with their landmark AI Act.
So let's just dive right in with a big one. This question, it gets right to the absolute heart of the problem. If an AI, one that's designed to learn and act all on its own, makes a mistake and causes real harm to a person, a business, you name it, who's on the hook? Is the developer who wrote the code, the company that used it? At the end of the day, this is the massive dilemma that regulators are trying to untangle right now. So, why is this so incredibly tricky? Well, because AI is just different. It's fundamentally different from any other tool we've ever built. There's this fantastic analogy from some researchers that really helps explain it. Think about a normal tool, say a pistol. It's pretty simple, right? It only works if a person loads it, aims it, and pulls the trigger. But a truly autonomous AI, that's a pistol that can load itself, pick its own target, and decide to fire, all without human intervention, and maybe in ways its creator never, ever saw coming. That unpredictability, that's the real challenge here.
And that autonomy leads to another huge problem, what we call the black box problem. For a lot of these advanced AIs, we can see the data we put in, and we can see the answer that comes out. But the process in the middle, how it got from A to B, it's often a complete mystery. The logic can be so incredibly complex that even the people who designed it can't fully explain it.
So when you're faced with technology that's this unpredictable and, frankly, this opaque, it's no wonder the world's major powers are scrambling to set up some rules. But here's the thing. They are not all on the same page. You're really seeing three different philosophies emerge. First, you've got the European Union. They're all about safety and fundamental rights, which means strict, comprehensive rules. Then you have the United States, which is more focused on let's not slow down innovation, so they have a much more permissive, market-first approach. And then there's China, which is taking a very different state-led path that balances government control with public input. And the EU is really leading the pack with its AI Act. It's the world's first true comprehensive law for AI. And listen, this isn't some far-off theory. It's happening right now. It's rolling out in stages, with the first bans kicking in at the start of 2025, and the whole thing going into full effect by August 2026. So how does this thing actually work? Well, the brilliant part is its simplicity. Instead of trying to write a rule for every single possible use of AI, which would be impossible, it just classifies them based on their level of risk. Think of it like a pyramid. Every AI system gets sorted into one of four tiers. Right at the top, you have unacceptable risk. That stuff is just flat-out banned. No go. Below that, you get high-risk systems. They're allowed, but with a lot of strict rules. Then there's limited risk. Think chatbots, where you just have to be transparent that you're talking to an AI. And at the bottom, the biggest category, is minimal risk. Things like spam filters, which are pretty much free to use. So what kind of stuff gets completely banned? We're talking about things that are seen as a real threat to our rights. Things like social scoring systems run by governments, AI that's designed to manipulate you into doing things that are harmful, or scraping the entire internet for faces to build surveillance databases. These are the red lines the EU says we just can't cross. Okay, let's talk about that next level down, high risk. These systems aren't banned, but this is where the regulation gets really, really serious. We're talking about AI used in things like hiring, where a biased algorithm could literally destroy someone's career chances, or in banking, where a glitch could deny you a mortgage. These systems will have to meet some really tough standards for data quality, human oversight, and security. Now, all of this isn't just some legal theory. For any business that develops, sells, or even just uses AI in Europe, this is a massive, massive wake-up call. What the Act does so well is it makes it very clear who's responsible for what. It defines these specific roles: provider, deployer, importer, distributor.
So whether you're building the AI or just using it, you have clear legal duties. There's no more pointing fingers and passing the buck. Accountability is now built right into the chain.
But, and this is a big but, here's a reality check from a recent Accenture study. It found that while about 72% of companies say they have great AI governance plans on paper, only 6%, just 6%, have actually put those plans into practice. That's a huge gap between saying you're doing the right thing and, actually doing it.
And if you're wondering what's going to push companies to close that gap, well, it's the penalties. For the really bad violations, we're talking about fines up to 35 million euros or 7% of a company's global annual revenue, whichever number is bigger. Yeah, that's a number that gets a CEO's attention, for sure.
So you see, this isn't just about avoiding a fine. It's about something much bigger. It's about building trust. The smartest businesses are already looking at this not as a chore, but as a chance to turn responsible AI into a real competitive advantage. But as comprehensive as this law is, it can't solve everything. The story of AI regulation is far from finished, and there are still some pretty big questions hanging out there. And this brings us right back to that question we started with. As one expert put it pretty bluntly, AIs will cause damage. It's going to happen. And while the AI Act is a fantastic tool for preventing harm, it doesn't really give us a clear answer for how we're supposed to compensate the victims when things do go wrong. Now, to try and fill that gap, policymakers are kicking around some really creative ideas. Some are pretty practical, like making insurance mandatory for high-risk AI, kind of like we do for cars. Others involve setting up special funds to pay victims. And then there's a really wild, controversial idea. What if we gave certain AIs a kind of electronic persona, making them legal entities that could actually own assets to pay for damages themselves? So in the end, the EU is walking this incredible tightrope. It's trying to build these guardrails to make AI trustworthy, but without accidentally crushing the very innovation that it wants to see flourish. The goal is simple: get all the amazing benefits of this tech while protecting us all from its biggest dangers. Which leaves us with one final and really crucial question. Has Europe just set the global gold standard for how to do AI responsibly? Or has it just built a massive roadblock that's going to leave it in the dust in the global race for the future? The answer to that is going to shape not just technology, but pretty much society itself.